We need to understand what the company's doing, how it makes money, how it serves customers, the products, services it delivers, things like that, because that enables us to adapt the most expensive resource on the books, the people.
This is John Bernadovich. Welcome to the HR Like a Boss video series. If it resonates with you, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, or sharing with a friend. In the description below, you will find social media links to the full and complete podcast interview. You can also take the HR Like a Boss survey at willery.com/HRLAB. I've embarked on a journey to get to know amazingly awesome HR and business professionals. These conversations create the foundation for my book on what it takes to do HR like a boss. And on today's episode, I am joined by Ben Eubanks. I was able to meet Ben a couple years ago in regards to an HR tech event that we put on in Cleveland around human resources and artificial intelligence. He also is the Chief Research Officer for Lighthouse Research and Advisory. He just founded the HR Tech Awards, and he also is the host of We Are Only Human podcast. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, John. I'm excited to be here.
Fantastic. Well, it sounds like you have your hands full, plus I know there's several other things in your life. So why don't you tell our audience that doesn't know much about Ben, who you are and what you're currently working on?
So I'm an author, I'm a researcher, I'm a speaker, live in Huntsville, Alabama. We have 4 kids, 10 and under. So that in itself probably will be enough to keep me busy with virtual school and everything else these days. But we're doing some new, interesting research right now at Lighthouse on talent acquisition, learning and development, employee mobility, how we move them in the business. We're actually building this really interesting assessment for one of the other things that I'm doing in the space right now. We're building an assessment called My HR Fit that allows HR leaders to understand their strengths and how they relate to the work that we do in HR, so they can find the best culture to fit themselves into, find the best role to fit themselves into. So there's lots of fun things going on over here, and I can't wait for the conversation, because when I think of doing HR like a boss, you're one of the people I think of, John. So I'm excited to dive into the discussion and share, but also learn from you.
For those that are listening or watching, please check out Ben online. Obviously, you can find him through his website as well as on LinkedIn. Super awesome intellect. I know when he did the presentation back a few years ago, he made AI as practical and as consumable for the HR professional as possible. So, and I know there's been a ton of things that have happened even since then as technology and AI and all that evolved. So. As we do with all the guests on the show, kind of season 1, I start off with the question of, tell me what you would describe as the purpose of human resources. How would you fill in those blanks, Ben?
In a nutshell, it's really about bringing together the needs of the people and the needs of the business so they can serve each other. People, we need work. We're built to work, right? That's what we're designed to do, and we need a place to do that. And the business is there to give us a way to do that. At the same time, it's a way for companies to be able to fill in all the slots and serve customers and everything else. So I think it's easy to see it as like a hierarchical thing where the company is more important, but really HR is about trying to make sure those scales are balanced.
I'm just curious as to, what do you think are some of the challenges that HR faces when trying to achieve, as you call it, kind of bringing the people and the organization together? What do you think are the challenges they face?
I'm going to give you a clue. Well, you're over 10 years old, so you already know this. But anyone who hasn't run across this yet, I'll give you a hint. Humans are messy. Humans are hard. We're difficult to deal with sometimes. And so HR is about trying to take this thing that's hard to work with, right? When we say talent, we think, okay, we got skills, we got all these abilities, but you forget that there's emotions and everything else that makes it less clean and clear cut. And at the same time, the business goal is profitability. How do we make sure that we're profitable enough to remain open and continue serving this community and continue providing these jobs and everything else? And so those are some challenges, because those things are not always in alignment. But the good news is there's been some turnaround in the last few years. There was a great some research on the CEO roundtable where they said, hey, our highest calling isn't profit anymore, right? It's something higher than that. It's about the people. And so it excites me to think that maybe in the next 10-year period, it's going to be the best opportunity for us to really make an impact on the business, on the people, in a way we couldn't in the past.
So what do you think? What do you think gets in the way, right? What do you think gets in the way of an organization being able to appropriately balance that, Ben, that kind of people before profit, kind of aligning that purpose? What do you think? What do you think causes organizations to struggle with that?
Well, again, it's if you've been trained, if you've gone to, business school and you were trained to look at ROI of everything, then you want to filter everything through that lens. And sometimes, as you're saying, like the thing we're going to do today, it may help our people, it may inspire them for seasons to come, but it's going to cost us something. And if we can't say, well, we're going to put in $1 and get $1.50 out, leaders are hesitant to make those choices. They're not sure if they want to make that call. And so I think that's the big part there. And that's why it's coming on us as HR leaders to take the stand to say, okay, I'm going to build a business case for this thing. We're going to invest in this, and here's the outcome we're going to get there. I'm going to back that up with evidence, with data. That's one of the fun conversations I've had in the last few years is more discussions around evidence-based HR. There's nothing wrong with kind of going with your gut in some moments, but when you're trying to really pitch an idea, you're trying to sell someone on a new path, you're trying to make someone do something they've never done, you've got to use some evidence to back that up. And there's plenty of it out there. That's one of the reasons I love research so much that I do, as part of my job day to day, is because we're providing evidence that HR leaders can use to then get that investment, make that decision, get that buy-in from their leadership team to make the right decision for the people.
Curious if you can just dive into a little bit more on those sections, because those are two cornerstones of chapter 4 in my book about being different, about being able to manage your distractions and study your company. So tell me your perspective on that, Ben.
We'll start with the know your company piece, because that one, I've got a story that'll probably make you smile, and some other things that I've learned through the 10 plus years I've been serving as an HR leader. I run a blog, and I get questions from people all the time, like, hey, I'm going for an interview, how to prepare, everything else. And I got someone reached out to me a few years ago and said, hey, I'm going for an interview with this company. Any advice? I gave her some tips and things. I said, let me know how it goes. And sometimes I hear back, sometimes I don't. And she actually followed up later and said, hey, I got the job. And I said, that is so awesome. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. I knew you could do it. All the rah things. And she said, but you'll never guess what happened. I'm like, okay, you got the job. So it couldn't have been that bad. So what happened? She said, well, I'm sitting there. I'm working at this, I'm trying to get a job as an HR generalist at this company that does rubber manufacturing. They take raw materials and they make rubber tires and things like that. And the CEO looks at me and says, what do you think is the reason for our rising capital costs every year? Again, this is an HR person. This isn't your CFO, or this is your head of operations. This is an HR professional that's trying to get an HR role. And he said, why are our capital costs going up every year? And she's like, I scrambled. She's like, well, I guess rubber doesn't grow on trees. And if you're familiar with rubber, it actually does come from a tree. It comes out of a plant. And so we laughed about that. She's like, I got the job in spite of that. She said the CEO laughed so hard when she said it, but they got around to a conversation about why talent matters and how it can fit into that conversation around the costs and the ongoing, cost of the organization. But it is my reminder, like, we need to understand what the company's doing, how it makes money, how it serves customers, the products, services it delivers, things like that, because that enables us to adapt the most expensive resource on the books, the people. Any line item for a company, the top line item in terms of the cost is the people, how much we pay them, the benefits, everything else that goes with that. It helps us align that with the things that the company needs to do to get those customers served, to get those products out the door, to get those services delivered.
Well, I'll get you out here on this. My favorite question as it relates to the HR Like a Boss podcast, because it's about branding, the concept of doing amazingly awesome HR and making an impact on the business, on the employees, on the community. So if you had to describe someone that does HR Like a Boss, how would you do that, Ben?
I want to describe this generic person. I'll describe a real person. So the first manager I ever had that really taught me HR the way it should be practiced, she did two things that actually tied really well with our conversation today. She knew the people intimately, right? Someone had some issue going on in their personal life. She was aware of it so that she could figure out how can we serve them. She also knew the business though. She became the COO eventually when I was promoted to be the head of HR, and she knew both of those things and how to pull the right levers the right time to get them to align in a way that honestly, I still don't fully understand how she did it, but really, really caring about the people, really focusing on them, but not giving, the things the business needs, the things that business expects out of us as business leaders, not just I'm wearing an HR hat, but I'm a business leader at this table, right? As you were saying earlier, she really balanced those things really well. And that is the thing that I continuously aspire to. And the thing that I encourage everybody out there, you want to be HR like a boss, focus on the people, focus on the business, serve them both well, and it's going to pay off.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, you found your way into the book, my friend. That was awesome. I appreciate you sharing those amazing insights. Ben, I really appreciated you being on the show. It was awesome.
Thank you so much, John. I can't wait to see this thing come to fruition, the book, and all the great work you've been doing. It's going to be incredible. I'm excited.
Thank you, Ben. And continued success to you with all you have going on. And thank you to everyone for checking out today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share with a friend. And until next time, let's continue to aspire to do amazingly awesome HR.